Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland alongside my tag team partner, the Devon to my Bubba Ray, Tommy Marquez. Get the tables, Tommy. 19.2 is done, and 19.1 was one of those workouts where you could easily say, okay, bigger guys, we're gonna love this one. But you look at 19.2, and I think that one is a little more general, broader and inclusive.
Got to see some heavy barbells. This is a really well-rounded test, just independent of everything else. And this is actually one of my favorite workouts in all of open history. You look at what some of the athletes who finished this in its entirety had to get accomplished. 125 toes to bar, 250 double unders, 55 cleans, almost half of which were above 225 for the men and 145 for the women. Some of these top athletes did it twice. So you double those numbers. From an outsider's perspective, someone who's a fitness enthusiast might look at this and say, this is impossible.
Yeah.
We can't do this. And you know what? Their athletes did it, and they did it under the time cap, a blazingly fast time, multiple times as well.
And it benefited those people who had fitness, and I think that's why you see some more familiar names this week, and we're going to get into that right now. Let's look at the women's results from just 19.2, and it's Brooke Haas who edges out Brooke Wells by 19 seconds, and as I mentioned, there are some familiar names up there, but an athlete like Brooke Haas, is someone who has done well at the regional level, and had this qualifying system been in place last year and the year before, she may have been a competitor at the CrossFit Games as an individual.
Yeah, through the backfill process, she would have been at the CrossFit Games. And you look at her resume, she's an experienced athlete, both at the regional level and has performed quite well in the open. At regionals, she's been individual twice, on a team twice, actually just narrowly missed qualifying as a team for 2 years. Then you look at what she's done at the open as an individual, and that's where she excels. Last year, 22nd worldwide. The year before that, 25th worldwide. So she has a history of performing at a very high level at the open level. No surprise she has a strong performance here.
Women's overall leaderboard now after 2 weeks, and the cream is starting to rise to the top. Sarah Sigmundsdottir is in first place overall. These are all unofficial as the leaderboard continues to shake out, but this is where we stand now. She has a 1-point lead over Karen Freyova. Danny Spiegel's up there, Amanda Barnhart, Laura Horvath, Annie Thorisdottir, and then Mackenzie Riley as well. But Sarah Sigmundsdottir really grabbed a lot of momentum with that win that we saw at Strength and Depth over there in London, and she's certainly hanging on to it now. She looks like a different athlete.
Yeah, she's definitely kept the ball rolling after Strength and Depth, and that competition in particular did huge benefits for her, not just physically, but mentally as well. And we're seeing the kind of the fruits of that labor, if you will, now in the open with 2 strong performances at the top of the overall leader worldwide. It shouldn't be a surprise because she's won the open before and she's been a multi-year podium athlete. But for someone like Sarah, having the mindset, the correct mindset, having the correct approach makes a huge difference between being able to be a top contender and just being another level games athlete. And it's great to see her kind of find her mojo again.
Over to the men's side of 19.2, and a lot of familiar names on top of this thing. I mean, just look at the top 3, Rich Froning, Pat Vellner, and Matt Fraser. There might be a little bit of an issue with Rich Froning's score. He might get docked a little bit for some missed double unders. We'll have to see, but it should not be enough to knock him out of the top spot. Rich Froning is a guy that didn't need to compete in the open. He's a team guy. Nice to see that he can still throw down, and he definitely has what it takes if he still wanted to compete as an individual. A little disappointing that he's not going to do it.
I love it. Rich is like the old guy at the bar when the young guys are running their mouth. He gets up off his seat and kind of smacks him up a little bit, shows him he can still throw down a little bit. A joke, obviously, saying he's an old guy, but he's the only guy in like the top 9 that's above the 30-year age threshold. Joining me and Sean as well, of course, so you got to give him a little bit of gruff there. But still, a strong performance for him. He had a top performance in 2016. He was 2nd worldwide in this workout, just behind Ben Smith. Now is able to improve by a minute for an already top time. Just showcases for even a person like Rich Froning, who's been at the top, has battled some injuries. He's still getting better as well.
Men's overall leaderboard is also starting to look a little more familiar. Zachary Bunton, though, with 10 points right now, again, unofficial, is your leader by 12 over Jason Carroll. And Alex Vigneault is in 3rd place, and he's a guy who had a great open in 2018. Wasn't able to follow that up, though, with a performance at the regionals. That was a little disappointing, but this is our first chance really to start playing Who the Hell Is This Guy? We have heard of Zachary Bunton before, so we really can't go at full Who the Hell Is This Guy, but who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, you still get to kind of say it, Sean, because he doesn't have the resume of some of the guys who are chasing him on the leaderboard. You take a look, Zachary Bunton is still an athlete who's kind of getting his competitive legs underneath him. 2 years ago, his first time at regionals was on a team. They actually did very well, finished 9th. Last year, his first regional competition, as an individual, was at the Central, kind of had a seesaw performance. 3 of those events, he finished 13th or better. 3 other events, though, he was in the bottom 10, so 30th or lower, including a dead last finish in that final workout. So he has some potential there, and I think every once in a while you see an athlete make regionals and really kind of realize that they can hang on that stage. He might be one of those athletes now, and we're seeing it in the Open with this new system. He's got 2 top 10 finishes worldwide, and especially in those 2 workouts, you have to give him credit.
And we're only through 2 weeks, but now is the time where we start to look at some athletes who really have some work to do, have kind of dug themselves an early hole. And on the men's side, the one name that really jumps out at me here, given his performance in past Opens, is Noah Ohlsen. He still, like I said, has plenty of time, and he does have kind of an insurance policy based on what he did at Wodapalooza.
So he finished 3rd at Wodapalooza, you're right, Sean, but some of that insurance policy is dependent on Patrick Vellner doing well ahead of him. Vellner right now not in the top 20, I expect him to be there, so that backfill process for him at Wodapalooza should end up happening. Still, his goal should be to get to the top 20 worldwide to ensure himself a qualifying spot from the Open. You take a look at him right now, and the leaderboard might change a little bit. He's got 840 or so points. Last year, 20th worldwide in the Open, had just over 1,100 points. That was with 6 scored pieces across 5 weeks of the Open. So you kind of have to do a little back of the napkin math. We've got 2 workouts in the bag. If there end up being 4 more, he just needs to average a 73rd place finish worldwide
for him.
to make it into the top 20 based on last year's numbers. If there's only 3, he's got to dial it up a little bit. He can only average a 34th place finish. He doesn't have as many workouts to make up some ground, and he's going to have to do a little bit better. Both of those are within his realm of capability, but now he's kind of lost his get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah, let's go over to the women's side, and one of the big names that stands out to me, Cassidy Lance McWhirter, who won the World Wide Open last year. She has some work to do, but again, plenty of time left. And then some people might be wondering a little bit about Camille Leblanc-Bazinet. She does have a reason as to why maybe her CrossFit game isn't where it needs to be at this point in order to qualify for the games.
Well, you know, Sean, with this new system, and even before the new system was put in place, we saw some athletes starting to shift focus a little bit, and Camille Leblanc-Bazinet is one of those athletes, choosing to focus on weightlifting and specifically trying to qualify for the Olympics. That means she's putting more training time, more effort towards that, not necessarily towards the overall fitness side of things to compete in CrossFit, but really Camille has accomplished just about everything there is to accomplish in that sport. She's been to the top of the mountaintop, she's been the fittest on earth, and so now she can afford to shift focus and maybe try something that's been a dream of hers in trying to make the Olympics.
Yeah, 3 weeks to go in the World Wide Open, so plenty of time, and we look forward to keeping an eye on all this stuff and seeing how the top 20 ultimately shake out. That's going to do it for us. Before we go, though, I want to let you guys know that we have a new website coming, so keep your eyes open for that. We'll keep you filled in on our Instagram page and on Facebook, Inside Elite Fitness. If you haven't already, go to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Inside Elite Fitness. Also subscribe to our podcast. That's Talking Elite Fitness. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever else that you may listen to your favorite podcast. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. We'll see you next time.